What's up, everybody? Welcome to FutureAzA. Wait a second, no, Tesla, who knows? It's a collab, so.
It's TeslaFixarama.
Yeah.
That's a brutal one.
Yeah.
What I'll do is I'll just start bringing more people into the channel, and every time I do, just lump in part of their name until it's a big casserole of names.
Yeah, that's a good idea. This is a three-part series. This is the last part. What are we going to talk about?
We're going to talk about some different brands. We're going to talk about perceptions of those brands in other countries, and we're going to talk about the parts and where they come from, and does it even matter? A lot of people say it does, and I say it does, but in what way? Just hang out with us and let's talk about China.
Welcome to TeslaFix. Make sure to subscribe and like this episode.
Do Germans look at Tesla as a Chinese brand, an American brand? What is the perception? Because I'll tell you, in the US, even though the most American-made car outside of Tesla's got all the top spots, is a Honda. And Honda, Acura, and Volkswagen round out the top 10 plus Tesla for most American-made. And Americans do not understand that. Those are definitely foreign cars, even though they're made in Chattanooga.
Yeah, I would say it's perceived as an American brand, as an American car. People who are in manufacturing or in the field of engineering, of course, they know that the Model 3, for example, is produced in China. It's not a surprise to them, of course, so they see it as, okay, quality control in China is pretty good. Many German car manufacturers, of course, outsourced also into China, but they are still not perceived as a Chinese car in that sense, because we also let many German car manufacturers produce there too. So, yeah.
Volkswagen has had partnerships with a lot of companies, SAIC, maybe BYD, I don't remember, but they've had partnerships with a lot of Chinese companies. Is there an anti-China stigma around cars where people say, boy, I don't want a BYD. I don't want an MG or a Polestar or
I would say Chinese brands, yes.
So if it's got the Chinese label, Great Wall Motors, people are like, that's real Chinese.
Liberation Army, names like that. No,
but Great Wall Motors is a real one.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Especially engineers know kind of where the cars more or less come from.
Sure.
And it's still perceived bad. The Chinese quality is still perceived as low quality for people that are outside of engineering, maybe. They don't really trust it. But if it's, for example, I don't know, a Polestar, oh, that's fine. That's okay, but yeah, it's not a Swedish car.
I can tell you this because the guy I'm going to mention this about doesn't watch this channel, and he doesn't even watch my channel, even when he's on it, kind of against his will. There's a guy who sells Polestars for the Polestar dealership, and I think he doesn't care for me because there were these people looking at a Polestar at this event we had, and they said, oh, these are made in Sweden. And I said, they're kind of designed in Sweden, but they are actually made in China. And they're like, oh, okay. And he was like, oh, why? Well, tell them why it's not a bad thing.
But I find very interesting the point you were touching on, because it's about Chinese brand or Chinese production. That's the two things you could separate in that sense. The stigma is higher if it's designed in China.
Yes.
That's very important.
The iPhone isn't designed in China.
Yes, exactly.
The iPhone is assembled in China.
Yeah, and that's the same thing with the Polestar. I think that people like the design aesthetic, for example, because it's also very popular, especially also in Switzerland. I have to tell you that Switzerland, well, it's close to the border. They kind of, in North Switzerland, they kind of speak the same language, kind of, with a dialect. But no, they're not the same. The Swiss average medium income is super high, one of the highest in the world. They are early adopters, all the way. So electrification was very fast here. They, of course, have their toys as well on the weekends. Many Swiss people have a second car because they have changing license plates. They have one insurance for two cars, for example. That's also an advantage here. So they always have like an many people have an old timer actually and drive around on Sundays, for example. Yeah, brands like Polestar and especially now Genesis had a lot of events here especially in the Alps, of course, and the ski areas, and where rich people are. Here, living a lot of rich people because of tax reasons, I would say.
And skiing isn't cheap anywhere, but here I imagine it's prohibitive.
It's interesting to see how brands are perceived, especially with Switzerland so near and the differences here. But designing in Europe, or also designed in the US, is a main factor that's important. It changes things.
Yeah, a lot of the parts for any car you have may come from China. So I would agree that there is a perception that where it's made matters more. There's parts from your car that are going to come from China. Mm-hmm. When I toured the Fremont factory, I got to see the Model S and X line, and there were boxes that just said, well, they said Tesla, but then they said a bunch of things in Chinese, and I don't read Chinese. I don't. I find it confusing and squiggly. Not the people, just the written language. I don't know if that's going in. But in my defense, I'm quite tired, so some of it's got to be allowed. People understand that parts are made in China. They don't care that the part is, as long as it's made to Western standards in a Western designed studio. And I'm curious to see what's going to happen with Xiaomi's new car, their SU7, that they're selling for less than a Model Y. Mm-hmm. And I think it looks nice. It's got a whole bunch of features. They know software because they make phones. Mm-hmm. So their software is good. Their UI is good. That gives them a huge advantage. Yep. And they know that they're going to lose money. And by the way, did you hear how quickly they ramped production?
No, I haven't.
Oh, their first month of sale was April. And by the end of April, they'd already sold, I want to say, 20, 30,000, some huge number. Yeah. And it's because they're made by GAIC, which is the state-owned.
Yep.
Yeah. Out of
China?
Beijing.
Beijing, yeah.
I can only remember
somewhere.
Well, I can only remember Peking, which is.
Yeah.
I didn't realize the same city, just depends who.
Okay, yeah. That's like Ho Chi Minh City and Saigon. Yeah.
I did not know that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw a tourist in Beijing with a guide that said, idiot's guide to visiting Peking. And I'm like, where is that? I only know of it as a dish, as a name in a dish. Mm-hmm. Nope, same place.
There are some reports of Chinese manufactured cars burning down. That's not a good look. That's quality control issues or exploding packs and stuff like this.
So most of those videos are way overblown. Mm-hmm. Somebody sent me a video
especially when something blows up.
Right. Somebody sent me a video after I said BYD's got this car that's, I don't remember, $8,000, $9,000. Mm-hmm. And they said, oh, check this out. And it was from China Daily News. It sounds very authoritative. Mm-hmm. And then you go look at all their other videos, and they're all anti-China.
Okay, yeah.
Bashing. Mm-hmm. In this video, I must have had 10, 20 people send me a link to the same video. And it's a compilation of all these cars. The first car in the video literally blows up, but not in a fireball. It just kind of blows straight up off the ground. That was a movie set.
Yeah,
somebody shot it from a movie set.
Yeah, that's what I thought because it's it looked like a movie set.
Yeah, busted.
Yep. So now we're at the Swiss border for 1 second, and now we're passing, and now we are in Deutschland.
Immigrants.
Yeah,
that's us because we crossed the border.
They don't really control the border, more or less. The Swiss do, the Germans don't, but now they do it more.
They call it a soft border.
Yeah,
and
it's also squishy.
It's very squishy. Yeah. The border between Ireland and Northern Ireland, which are two different countries with different leaders, is invisible. I mean, you hop on the train and at one stop you're in Ireland and the next stop you're in Northern Ireland. There was no real demarcation between the two. So, of course, they had a show similar to Reno 911, a fake cop show called Soft Border Patrol. And it was about this squad whose job it is. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh,
but
man,
funny,
it's so
funny,
dumb. This is, I don't know why we're recording this.
I don't know.
But these guys, they catch these guys out there and are you guys vandalizing the sign? What are you doing? No, we're just standing it back up. Okay, listen, we've been moving it a foot every week.
Okay.
So we can reclaim our country.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, put it back, guys, put it back. And she goes, yeah, I don't have the heart to tell them. These guys are so dumb. they're moving it the wrong direction.
Okay. Going back to China and the Chinese cars, I think there will be competition, especially in the low price segment, because people adapt more and more, because the prices of normal regular VW Golfs, for example, are already very expensive. So this one actually is in the same price category as a VW Golf. And let me tell you, I'm not buying a VW Golf.
Right. Is this aftermarket?
No, that came with it. That came with it.
Oh.
That's the great interior here. That's the soft touch material here. It's also very cool.
We had a lot to cover, and I think in the comments, I would love to see what you guys think, what we missed, what we misunderstood, and that is a place where Jan and I will both be looking at the comments, because it's such a huge topic. There's a lot to overlook. And some of the things you guys know we've already covered, but it sometimes needs to be said again. We can't just assume that everybody's watched every video, because there's a lot of videos.
They're not?
My viewers, I have a couple people who are like, I do literally watch every video. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, because I make so many. But it's what I do.
I'm not actually subscribed to it. What's your channel called again?
FutureAzA, formerly.
Yeah, check him out, of course.
Formerly My Tesla Weekend.
No, we don't talk about this name again.
Oh, yes, yes.
Wasn't this episode awesome? Let's accelerate the pace of innovation by subscribing to TeslaFix. It is my absolute favorite channel on the whole interwebs.